My dear friends, welcome to SEKAR classes on applied data science with Python. This is lecture number 162. In this lecture, we will try to understand F-test example and comparison between Z-test and T-test. First, let me take one simple example on F-test. So far, what we have done, there are two groups of populations. The standard deviation, that is variance of two population, is given. Now, let me explain the simple example with the Python code. Then we will see in Jupyter Notebook. I have an array x 3, 7, 25, 10, 15. This is a population, capital X, and y there is another population 48, 44, like this. Here let me assume my h0 is null hypothesis. Let me assume sigma x square is equal to sigma y square. This is null hypothesis. Your alternative I am assuming your alternative hypothesis is sigma x square is not equal to sigma y square. Let me choose alpha equal to 5%, that is 0.05 level of significance. Declare variable x and variable y. This is my x, this is my y. Find out the relation. I am interested in finding the relation between capital X and capital Y. Then you find number. How can I find this? Capital F equal to NP. Import NumPy as NP. We discussed a lot on NumPy library, isn't it? NP dot var of x, variance of x, by NP dot var of y. Your degrees of freedom is len of x. What is len of x? Number of elements in x array minus 1. That gives degrees of freedom of numerator. Degrees of freedom of denominator, len of y, that will give number of elements in y array and minus 1. How can I calculate p-value? Scipy dot stats dot f dot cdf. CDF means cumulative distribution function. We discussed a lot on this particular function. What is my I am checking f is np dot var x by var y, degrees of freedom numerator, degrees of freedom denominator. If I execute this simple code, what will I get? I will get 0.024680. I will get this p-value. I am assuming alpha is 0.05. P-value is less than or equal to alpha. This p is less than or equal to alpha means what I have to do? We discussed a lot on this. What I have to do? Reject h0. H0 means null hypothesis. That means I must accept alternative hypothesis, that is sigma x square is not equal to sigma y square. I must accept this particular alternative hypothesis. This is easiest way for testing variance of two populations. When should we go for many students may have doubt when you go for Z-test and when you go for T-test. When should we go for Z-test and T-test? You see that whenever sigma is known, just observe this particular table. Whenever sigma is known, sigma means what? Population standard deviation is known. Whenever the population standard deviation is known, you should go for Z-test. Just see, whenever your sigma is known, you need not bother about sample size, whether it is greater than 30 or less than or equal to 30, just go for Z-test. To decide when should we go for Z-test, there are two criteria. First one is sample size and second one is whether the sigma is known or unknown. Without considering the sample size, whenever the sigma is known, whether the sample size is less than 30 or greater than or equal to 30, you should go for Z-test. When will you go for T-test? Whenever sigma is unknown and sample size is less than or equal to 30, you should go for T-test, isn't it? Just this, that's what it says. Your sample size is less than or equal to 30, that is small sample, and sigma is unknown. In that case, you must go for T-test. You should go for T-test. There may be a possibility sigma is unknown and n is greater than 30. N is greater than 30 and sigma is unknown. In that case, what you have to do, instead of T-test, you can go for Z-test, because as we have studied previously, the T distribution is special case of Z distribution. Even you can see that diagrammatically also you can see that one. as degrees of freedom increases. I can say like this. Let me repeat this point. T distribution is special case of Z distribution. If you observe carefully, this T distribution curve is flat. Just you can see from this particular diagram. Whenever the degrees of freedom is increasing, it will behave like Z distribution. Whenever the sigma is unknown and n is greater than 30, you can go for Z test. That's why in many statistical packages, there won't be separate tab for running Z test. It has tab only for T test. Just go through this lecture. It is simple and straightforward. If you have any difficulty, just keep a comment. Thank you very much.